need to turn me on before we do a test. Okay, Eric, can you hear me? Eric?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. My name is Victor, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that our service this morning finds you happy and healthy, but please know that if you are struggling in any way, we hope that our service this morning can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. We are excited to be able to celebrate services in person once again, and we want to do so as safely as possible. Masks are recommended. However, respect and tolerance are absolutely encouraged, and we appreciate your part in helping to keep our whole Sangha safe, happy, and healthy. And a quick reminder that for your comfort, we have listening devices located at the altar at the back of the meditation hall. There's also some tissues, some throat lozenges, so whatever you might need to help make yourself a little more comfortable. Also, there's still one or two more cushions up front. I know some people like to meditate sitting cross-legged, so if that appeals to you, then those cushions are up front. And we, of course, love to welcome all the kids in with us this morning. Hi, kids. It's so nice to have you guys with us. Your energy, your bright faces. Hi. So let's go ahead and begin this morning with a few conscious breaths. A conscious breath is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, hold that breath for a moment, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding that breath for a moment, relaxing the shoulders, and releasing. A long, slow, metered release. And as you release, take a moment to bring your awareness to the body. What is present in your body right now? It could be a joy, perhaps a restlessness, a sadness, or perhaps a sense of ease. Whatever it is, we embrace the truth of this moment instead of our thoughts about the way we wish things were. And a second conscious breath together. Holding that breath for a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs. And releasing slowly. And as you release, giving yourself permission to unplug from that energy of going and doing, striving, accomplishing, efforting, as together we cultivate the energy of being. That energy that requires nothing of us and is a boundless, endless source of vitality and aliveness in this form. And a third conscious breath together. Holding that breath for just a moment. And releasing. And as you release, we invite you to bring to mind, to bring to your awareness the present moment. The present moment might seem like a small increment of time, but it has no beginning and it has no end, and we are always arriving. So this morning we want to also welcome all of our friends and Sangha members joining us from around the world via the magic of media and the airwaves. So a big welcome from our hearts here, physically present, to all of you joining us at home. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our service with chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. Chanting is not about being a singer. It's about having a voice. It is about an expression of that which is most sacred within you and sharing that with the world. Our chant today is Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. And you'll recognize Om, the seed sound. In Sanskrit, Om is the sound of the universe, reminding each and every one of us that we are a beautiful note in a grand cosmic symphony, forever playing. And so I will invite Rochelle to tone us in. Let's begin with a conscious breath. Together. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. 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 Once more. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from the darkness to the light. In the Buddhist practice, the unreal is the fear, the greed, the hatred, the delusion. And what is real is compassion, love, equanimity, and joy. And we're so happy to have Lindsay and the kids here chanting with us, breathing with us. Lindsay, what are you guys doing today?
Today we're going to talk about working through fear with gratitude.
Ah, wonderful. For those of you that didn't hear her, the kids today are working on looking at what fear is and what things make us afraid, and then responding with gratitude in the world for the things we have and for all those things that help keep us and make us feel safe. Yay. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Bye, kids. I can't wait to hear how things go. And again, welcome to everyone here to Temple Buddhist Center. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. Bye, Spider-Man. It's a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this blend is an exciting and new form of spirituality that is active, it is inclusive, it is dynamic, and is growing and changing with us. And it focuses on core Buddhist insights as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or philosophy or sect of Buddhism, but rather it is on a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, sharing from the heart, or spending time in noble silence, We respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. We take refuge in the 3 jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, bringing a fresh new perspective to each and every precious moment. The second jewel, the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And finally, the Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and help each other along every step of the path. So let's take a moment now to silence any electronic devices. And if you're at home, anything you need to do to prepare your surroundings for a time in meditation, contemplation. We will begin with the prayer of refuge, which we will recite 3 times together. Let's begin with a conscious breath. Together, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If you are new to meditation, we're going to begin with a dedication of intention. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels. And then from that point, our teacher today, Mr. Robert Brumet, will lead us into a guided meditation that's designed to assist you in moving into the stillness. We will spend approximately 10 to 12 minutes this morning connecting with each other in consciousness in noble silence. Afterwards, we will sound the return bell, and then it will be time for today's Dharma talk, or teaching. So let's begin with another conscious breath. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
As we listen to the sound of the bell receding into the silence, we allow the mind to recede into the quiet beyond thought, beyond hearing and seeing, into the silence from which all arises. We follow the breath, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. With awareness, with equanimity, we move into the deep stillness beyond the noise of the world. As we breathe, we feel the sensations in the body. Whatever is present in the body, we simply allow it to be there. Bring it into our awareness. And welcome it as the experience arising in this moment. Experience arises in each moment. We notice. Thinking arises. Emotions arise. Sensations arise. Hearing arises. We just notice. Notice it all rising and falling. Noticing the impermanence of all experience. That there's nothing we can hold on to. We find peace by letting go, by accepting and letting go. Just as each breath accepts the air into the body, it absorbs it and it releases it. So too, we accept each experience. We feel it deeply, and then we let it go. We notice the next experience that arises. Resting in the silence behind and beyond all of these experiences. Be the one that knows, the one that hears, the one that sees, the source. Resting in the silence. In the silence. each feeling in the body, each thought in the mind, being aware of hearing, and in a few moments you'll hear the sound of the bell, and as you do, I invite you to include seeing in your practice. At that time, just gently open your eyes and continue the practice as we go into what we call the world in our life, this game that we all play. We come into it consciously, with our eyes wide open, with our hearts wide open, with our minds clear. So here's the sound of the bell. I invite you to open your eyes very slowly. We notice how a whole new world comes into being when we open our eyes. A very different world than the one that we experience in meditation. So, good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Happy March. And it's good to be here. It's good to be alive. Just feel the experience of being alive in this moment, whatever it may be. This past couple of weeks, I have been very, very touched in many ways by reports of the situation in the Ukraine, and I know many other folks have been, if not all of us. It's quite a drama that unfolds. It's amazing how one man can cause so much suffering. It's amazing how so many people can be so incredibly brave. So many people can have so much compassion, how the world can come together so quickly and fall apart so quickly. So we're seeing the best and the worst of humanity right before our eyes, moment by moment. This morning, I just saw a brief clip that touched me very much. It was in a city that had already been taken by the Russians. The Russians were occupying that city, and so it showed 4 armed soldiers guarding the street corner, one on each corner. And they're standing there with their rifles ready. And this looked like about an 80-year-old grandmother came out, walked up to one of them, and of course the guard cocked the trigger of his rifle. She looked at him right in the eye and she says, "Shame on you. Shame on you for what you're doing. This is our country. You don't belong here. You go home." And she turned around, she says, "All of you, go home." Just the incredible courage of just being who she was. A grandmother scolding a naughty boy. And these poor guards, I think they were just, how do I get out of here, you know? They didn't tell me about that in the training manuals, you know, what to do with this. So this situation, I think, raises lots of questions, in my mind anyway, as far as our practice goes. How do we bring our practice, the Dharma, into this experience? What would the Buddha do if he were a male Ukrainian right now who was conscripted into the army, can't leave the country? Of course, there's no answer that we can give, and I don't think it helps to do conjecture, other than it can raise a lot of questions about what it's like to be in the world and not of it, as we often say. To live this human drama fully, deeply, and at the same time be awake. I was visiting with a friend of mine. This is actually before the war broke out. And we were talking about non-attachment. He's not a Buddhist, not a Dharma practitioner. And we were talking about non-attachment, you see. And he looked at me and he says, Robert, I don't want to be attached. In fact, I wrote down what he said. He says, Robert, I don't want to be attached. I don't want to stop caring for this world. I want to stand firm in what I believe in. I don't want to lose my passion for freedom and for justice for all people. I care deeply for what I believe to be right and true. I don't want to be non-attached. How would you respond to that? Well, here's what I said to him. I said, that's a powerful statement. I would say exactly the same thing, except for the first sentence. And he looked at me and he said, but isn't that contradictory? You know, how can you be full of passion and be non-attached? And I said, Don, you can have all these things that you mentioned. You can be attached, or not attached, but you can be passionate, you can feel deeply, you can care deeply, you can act strongly, but you're not attached to the results. You do what you do the best that you can, and then you let it go. We're not trying to control anything, but we're responding to life fully, powerfully, and with conviction. So non-attachment doesn't mean lack of passion, which a lot of people think. Non-attachment means sort of never being disturbed, never, always being calm and above it all. That's not what it is. You see, that's what I call the counterfeit Buddha. That's the phony Dharma. Non-attachment means you live your life fully. You live your commitments and your beliefs fully, but you let go of whatever happens after you say and you do with integrity and with conviction. There's a poem I'd like to share with you. I'm sure you've heard it at one time or another. It's a poem by Rudyard Kipling, who was an Englishman that spent many years in India. And this poem has particular meaning to me because I gave it to my son just before he was in the army and he was deployed into a combat situation. And I mailed this poem to him, and he said, Dad, he said, this kept me going. when I didn't think I could. So it's called if. You familiar with it? Some of you are, I'm sure. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you and make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being hated and not give way to hating, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and then stoop them up and build them with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and then risk it all in a turn of pitch and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings but not lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and what's more, you'll be a man, my son. And you can interpret man as human being, a real human being with virtue, with integrity. I love the Yiddish word mensch, which basically means human, means a true human being of value and of compassion, that lives his or her life deeply and filled with integrity. And it's so wonderful, despite all of the cruelty and the horror and the suffering, that we can see that. We can see people rising to the occasion in so many ways. So once again, I want to emphasize that equanimity, actually that poem I just read could be titled Equanimity. Equanimity, non-attachment, does not mean that we can't have or don't have passion, that we live fully, that we care deeply, that we love unconditionally, and that we're fierce in defending that which we know is true. But we do it without malice, and we do it without reacting, but responding from that which is real and true and deep within us. That's when the practice really shows up. Sometimes we may not even notice the impact of our Dharma practice in our day-to-day life when everything's going ho-hum, so-so, you know, the quotidian, as it's often called. But when something happens that turns the world upside down, or turns our world upside down, that's when we notice the power of the Dharma arising. So I encourage you to continue your practice, even if you can't see any measurable result. Know that the very fact that you're willing to do it, that you're committed to do it, and that you do it, basically that's it, just do it. Just do it. We can't do it badly, we can't do it well, we just either do it or we don't. That's all there is to it. So we set an intention for what we say and do. Say, whether we know it or not, we always do. And so much of the time, we don't realize that our intention is to, in some way, control other people. You know, either to feel safe for ourselves, or to get somebody to like us, or to approve of us. So much of what we say and do is to try to manipulate our environment and those in it. That's one intention. Another intention is to live with integrity, to live fully and deeply to the thing that is the most true within you, beyond words. But you know it in your heart. Everyone here knows it in their heart, whether they're able to articulate it or not. You know what's right. You know what's true. And so, I invite you to make that your intention, to live your life passionately, fully, openly. I used to play tennis quite a bit. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do that anymore. But when I played tennis, I enjoyed it very much. But there was a friend of mine that I played with on a regular basis. And he played tennis. He played well. But he played to win. He was very competitive. And I played to play, you see. And we both would play a very intense game, giving it all that we had. You know, we played several sets, sweating, and you could barely stand up. But when it was all over, it was all over. But for my friend, not necessarily so. He would take that game home with him. And if he won, he'd make it a trophy in his mind. If he lost, he'd make it a failure that he should be punished for, or some story like that, you see. But that's what we would tend to do, right? So being aware of your intention, and I invite you to let your intention be to be alive and to live life fully, passionately, without being attached to the results. Let's see, there's a poem I want to close with. It's falling, there it is, falling into my hands. This is a poem by Rainer Maria Rilke, the German poet, another one of my favorite poets. And he talks about God, and with some people that's a four-letter word. So if you have any trouble with the word God, you can substitute love or reality or truth or whatever is right for you, because he speaks metaphorically, and this is not literally. He says, God speaks to each of us as he makes us. So in other words, just imagine just before you're being born, this is what God, the last thing God whispers into your ear. God speaks to each of us as he makes us, then walks silently with us out of the night. These are the words that we dimly hear. You sent out beyond your recall. Go to the limits of your longing. Embody me. Flare up like a flame. Make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is this country they call life. You will know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand. Thank you for being who you are.
Thank you so much, Robert. Let's take a moment to just embody the teachings, not needing to figure anything out, analyze, or engage the thinking mind, but to let the heart resonate. And if necessary, you can shift your posture or stretch or move for a few moments here as we transition into loving kindness practice. This is a heart-centered practice. And the heart practices, it is not uncommon in the heart-centered practices to somehow symbolically have a physical presence with it. What I mean by that is, for example, a mudra. Some people might want to place a hand on the heart, or perhaps an Anjali mudra. It's okay to just have your hands in your lap. Whatever works for you as we move into metta practice or loving kindness practice. So we'll begin with a conscious breath together. And as you exhale, I invite you now to bring to mind a full body image in your mind's eye of you. A full body image of that form that has been given your name and that has accrued the many experiences over the years. And holding this image in your mind's eye, we will open our hearts as you recite silently to yourself these words of metta practice. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as we release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you to bring to mind now the image of a friend of yours. Holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as we release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of an acquaintance, perhaps a clerk or a cashier, a passerby or someone new in the Sangha. Holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a difficult person, a challenging person, perhaps a boss, a coworker, a neighbor, classmate, or even a political figure. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. Releasing that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of the world, all the plants and the flowers, the trees, animals of the land, the sea, the sky, and all sentient beings, including ourselves. Holding this image in our mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta to us all. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And in the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge may find it here in this temple with these teachers, with these teachings, and with this Sangha. We take a moment of gratitude for all of our ambassadors, those folks who have committed themselves to regular monthly electronic giving. It's not about the amount, it's that the regular monthly giving helps us to set a budget. If you'd like to become an ambassador, then you can stop by our website, templebuddhistcenter.com, and simply click on the Love Offering button. The Dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall. And we also take a moment of gratitude, letting our hearts fill with love, warmth, and light for all of our wonderful volunteers. So many people who are making all aspects of Temple Buddhist Center run smoothly, as well as offering new programs and facilitating different things to help nourish our community and open it up to our Sangha both near and far. Thank you so much to all of our volunteers for everything that you do. Also, gratitude to Rochelle for your wonderful music. Thank you so much, Ricky. Thank you, Eric, for everything that you do, providing so much for the folks out on the Magic Media airwaves. And thank you, Robert Brumet, for all your wonderful teachings your knowledge of the Dharma, your commitment to TBC, and your friendship to me. So thank you so much. And especially thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart and your presence and your practice with us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We are the better for it. And so as we prepare to end our time together, we will recite the Bodhicitta dedication. And after that, I hope you have, we have 2 minutes before the end of our hour that I can share a few announcements with you. And so our closing dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts as we go forth from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you again, everyone, so much. And just a few brief announcements here. We are, and I know that Eric is also placing this on the screen for folks at home, but the International Rescue Committee is a vetted source. If you would like to check them out, just Google the International Rescue Committee. It's a wonderful and vetted source for providing some assistance to help those in the Ukraine and for the humanitarian relief efforts there in Europe as a whole. So we want to make sure that that is available and out there offered to everybody. Rob. Also, coming this Tuesday, Temple Buddhist Center is partnering with the Lyric Opera as they present the brand new opera called The Revolution of Steve Jobs. Many people don't realize that Buddhism had a very heavy impact on Steve Jobs' life. And so we will be joining the librettist who actually wrote the opera, will be here on Tuesday at noon, from noon to 1:30, and we'll be talking about the opera and about Buddhism and why he included so much about Buddhism in the opera. Also, on our Facebook page and our website, for Temple Buddhist Center members, there is a discount code. So if you'd like to go and see the opera, which is, I believe, the 11th through the 13th, you can get, I think it's a 50% discount off the tickets to go see the opera. And so that information is available, again, as I said, on our website or on our Facebook page. Also, out on the front counter, the reception desk, as we enter the meditation hall, there's a few sheets of paper. Temple Buddhist Center partners with Bridging the Gap. It's a sustainable environmental action organization that we partner with, and they're featuring 2 events, one energetic cause. It's their Energy and Equity Gala, so you can pick that up out on the front and find out more about that. If there's only 1 sheet left, please don't take the last one. I'll go run and make copies real fast. And then also, Robert is starting a new Sangha called the Dedicated Practitioners Sangha. It's not new, but it's a new iteration of it. It cycles through about every 5 or 6 months. And so that information is on the counter as well. And that will be meeting virtually, I believe, at first, right, Robert? Okay, yes, start off with meeting virtually. Also, I believe that Robert has placed a copy of some of the poems that he read today on the reception desk. There are also sign-up sheets for our email newsletter, as well as volunteer opportunities. Today, at Unity Temple as a whole, downstairs at 11:30, they're featuring Stone Soup Sunday. And this is hot soups that have been made by members of the community, as well as some local restaurants and things that brought these in. I want to say it's $10, but I don't see it on here on the form. But the fee for the soup, the lunch, All the money goes to helping people who are experiencing homelessness. So all the money goes to some of the soup kitchens and the pantries here in the area. So if you're still around the area, still around the building here at 11:30, you can do that. Normally on first Sundays of the month, we have our Helping Hands bags, although two of the members that make that happen have been out sick this week, so I'm not sure if they're out there or not. So if you see blue bags when you leave, you are invited to take one. In those bags are essential items to help someone who's experiencing homelessness that you might encounter as you move around the city. And so we invite you to give them one of those bags. So other than that, I don't have a lot of other things. Please stay tuned. Our WeSock retreat, information will be coming out very, very soon about that. It is a residential retreat as well as commuter or virtual. So there's 3 ways to participate in that retreat this year. And so that's going to be coming out, and the retreat dates are the 18th through the 21st, Silent Meditation Retreat. Other than that, lots of great things happening. We are featuring tomorrow night, Monday evening from 7 to 9, a peace vigil for the events unfolding in Europe. And so there will be a flower mandala, there will be candles, there will be some ribbons there if the kids want to make ribbons of yellow and blue. And there will be some poetry and some chanting. So it's just from 7 to 9. It will be live streamed on the Temple Buddhist Center Facebook page if you are unable to make it physically. So other than that, just lots of classes and groups. We're such a thriving, growing community. It is truly a blessing to be a part of this. Thank you all so much for everything that you do for our community, including just the support and being present. And as you go into your day, I wish you peace and blessings.